My name's Josh. I'm a co-host on The Imperfects, the son of Sri Lankan and English immigrants, and I call Australia home. I'd like to recognise the traditional peoples of this continent whose land was stolen nearly 250 years ago. In particular, we at The Imperfects would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the land on which this podcast was recorded, and we extend our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I'm inspired by the strength and endurance of the world's oldest living culture, and we at The Imperfects pay homage to the traditions of story when we share stories on our podcast.
Just a quick bonus episode for a very exciting announcement.
I am. So
it's a big day, huge day.
I'm extremely nervous.
Huge day.
Like I'm actually...
It's a huge day. It sure is. Why are you nervous, Hugh's day?
Well, I don't get... one of my favourite things in the world to do is this podcast, and I don't get nervous when we start, but because of what we're talking about, it's just made me suddenly feel extremely nervous.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, as you know, huge day. Today on Amazon Prime Video is the premiere launch day of a brand new Hugh van Cuylenburg special called G.E.M.
You got the name correct.
G.E.M.
Yeah, it's a point of it's been a contentious one. When we were, I think originally it was called G.E.M. And and the Amazon launch that I went to, where I told the story about how my red carpet disaster,
yes,
where I was not needed for all the promotional shots for the shows coming out. They announced me up onto stage and said, with his show G.E.M. And I thought, that's a bad name.
G.E.M. Yeah, well, when you pronounce it G.E.M.
Because we had the full stops in between the original.
Right.
And so it was, and the first thing I did when I got off stage was call Tim Bartley, one of your best friends, who made the whole thing, basically. Produced it, yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And I said, I really don't like the name G.E.M. I mean, I do really don't. Sorry. It's confusing. And I said, no, I really don't like the name G.E.M. It sounds weird. And so we changed it to G.E.M.
Yeah.
But then I was worried people would think that I was saying I'm a gem. Because when you look at the branding, it's just like Hugh van Cuylenburg, G.E.M. It's not far off going, G.E.M.
Well, we should, true. Well, maybe we could, maybe if you explain, because people have no idea what it is. Like, what is the special?
You'll have to download it. And no, that's not true. No.
Please tease it a bit more. Because it's not only is on Prime Video, it's also on Audible as an original Audible podcast.
So you can listen to it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's my stage show, basically. I mean, it's been an extraordinary journey. I've been telling stories about my trip to India and about our sister Georgia and her life for 14 years now. And that's a long time to every talk's a bit different, but essentially there's big chunks of it that are exactly the same.
And these are the talks that you do, like you started off doing in primary schools, really, didn't you? 14 years ago.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to go and do talks on G.E.M, gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness, because I thought they're so powerful. And I just quit my teaching job so stupidly, so foolishly, so naively and ambitiously. But and then I called the school where I used to teach and said, can I do a talk for the students? And I said, yeah, of course you can. And then it went really well. Then I called my former school where Josh and I went to school and said, can I come and do a talk? And I went, yeah, of course you can. And I thought, this is easy. I'm 2 from 2. This is just doing your own business is the easiest thing in the world. And then they went really well, but then no one wanted to hear from me after that. Everyone just kept saying no. And I thought, and it took, it was probably 3 years till it became a legitimate thing that I was doing. So it was a bit of a struggle early. But then when it picked up momentum, I couldn't stop it. It was like this. It was just this. It just grew legs, and I didn't want to put the brakes on because I felt like I was helping so many people, and I'd been given so many no's that I just felt like I didn't want to say no to anyone. So I just kept saying yes, and I kept doing these talks. And there was one year I think it was worked out 502 for the year, and that was in 2014, I think.
And this is it's like an hour-long talk.
Yeah, and
sometimes 2 hours when you've done it in the past.
And often if it was different. One day I think it was in 2014, I did 5 different schools in the one day and started off in Kilmore in Victoria, ended up in I can't remember what it was, but it was 4 different schools, 5 talks. But I was doing that. I did that kind of stuff for probably 3 or 4 years. And then the business started to evolve and all this stuff happened. But I was still doing way too many talks. And
But that's essentially the birth of the Resilience Project.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But we do so many things at the Resilience Project, but the thing I love most is getting up on stage at the big public talks where anyone can buy a ticket and come along.
Yeah.
And
which is where I first saw the talk.
Yeah. And I did so many. At one point I collapsed on stage because I was just so exhausted I just fell over
from talking.
It was like, and I remember a couple of years ago talking to my psychologist about it, saying there are a few stories that I start to tell. When I tell them, I get this pain in the same spot in the back of my head. And she said, well, you're probably in uncharted territories. I'm not sure I've done this much public speaking ever before. Who knows what it is? Because you drive a long way, then you stand in front of a lot of people and you turn over your shoulder constantly to look at your screen and back to them. And she said, who knows what it is? But she said, you need to stop telling these stories. You need to stop. And I said, they're just working for people. So, and she said, yeah, but they're not working for you. And I'm not here to look after other people. I'm here to look after you. You need to stop. And I agreed with her intellectually, but then I thought, it just seems to be helping so many people. I don't feel like I can. And then people said, we could record it and send to people, but it means too much for me. Like that show I'd put together, it just meant too much to just sort of I don't know, film it and just send out the whole thing to people.
And even the one that you recorded that is on Amazon now, like even that one is sort of specific to that particular show.
Yeah.
Like it's like every show you do, I imagine you're like talking to the audience and like someone says something like, for example, like Beefy, your friend Beefy who works at the Resilience Project, like the story about Beefy it's sort of at the end of the special.
It's right at the end, yeah.
It is.
It's at the end because of my favourite bit.
It's incredible.
Because we started to look forward to it on one stage. I'm like, I can't wait to get to Beefy.
It's so funny.
I really hope this show makes him really famous. That's my main wish. This is Beefy becomes.
Do you reckon he wants that?
He thinks he already is, but yeah. But people kept saying we'll record it, and then but then it wasn't until Amazon and Audible said we'll do this properly, like we will make a show out of this. And I thought that's a really nice way to farewell this and to stop doing it, stop telling these same stories. And so I'll be coming up with new talks, and I can't wait to do that for the Resilience Project. But these stories that I've been telling for 14 years, I just had to stop. I wanted to do Melbourne just because that's where this whole thing started. So we did a night at the Athenaeum Theatre.
It's incredible.
And I drove there, and I actually recorded audio on the way to the show for the Audible.
Oh, like a bonus.
Just like me on the way, how I was feeling about never doing it again. And
cool.
It'll surprise you guys to know I was running a bit late as well. So there's a bit of a thing on the stress of like, how am I running late to this? Like the most important night of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an incredible experience, and I would say I'm really proud of it. But I haven't watched it because I don't want to watch it. I don't know why. I tried to watch it.
What is it awkward? Because you know who else doesn't watch their own things?
Who's that?
Actor Adam Driver. You know Adam Driver?
I do know. Yeah,
specific reference.
He's like, I'm sure a few actors do this, but he's never watched. There's like a story about.
So he hasn't watched one of the episodes.
I always thought there was a lot in common between you and Adam Driver. But there's like a sort of famous story of him like at the premiere of Girls. Remember the TV show Girls?
Yeah.
And about like 2 minutes in to the premiere screening in a cinema, he like walked out of the screening, and Lena Dunham, who was the creator and star of it, she assumed that he hated it. Like just assumed that he hates the show, he's left. But it's just that he can't watch himself on screen. Wow. Yeah, so he's never seen any of his movies.
Well, if there was an official like launch, I wouldn't have gone. I just couldn't have watched it.
It's a shame that you haven't seen it because I don't like Josh. I don't know about you, but I learned a lot about gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness, and I just feel like you could get a lot from it. Well, Josh, you're in it. You're in the during the show.
Yeah, I am, very embarrassingly. I feel like it's a strange thing for me to watch because a lot of it's about us and our family, but also I've heard so many of those stories, and I was around a fair bit in those early days. I didn't go to all 500 of your talks, but I was sort of coming along and helping and hearing them, and it was really, it was kind of surreal to see you see what you've become almost, and how much it's refined, and how, to me, watching that special, I watched it this morning. It was the best I've seen you do it. And it was like so refined and so well done. And for me, having heard most of those stories before, I still found myself in this cafe this morning getting pretty emotional and a bit teary in points, and genuinely laughing. especially when you're doing a bit about us as kids. Like genuine reactions that I thought when I sat down to watch it, I've seen this so many times, I'm not going to have much reaction here. But I was really surprised how engaged I was and how much I loved it and how proud I was to see.
Oh, that's nice.
Like my brother doing an Amazon special, like that's huge.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is huge.
Funnily enough, it's funny you say that because I did, like in the build up to it, I was like, even in the green room or backstage before it, I was like, this is, at one crack at this is going to be a TV show. Everyone's going to see this. And I've been doing it for so long. I really hope I do this well because sometimes you get on stage and it just doesn't happen for you and you find it hard to.
There's a lot of pressure on that particular performance.
Yeah. And I remember about probably 30, I reckon probably once every 10 or 15 shows I do, I find myself in flow, like that thing we've talked about here on the podcast where time is completely, you have no concept of time. And if someone stopped you and said, what are you thinking about? You'd go, I'm actually not thinking, this is just happening.
Is that why it went for 4 hours? It's not 4 hours. It's just over an hour. Very, very easy to watch.
And I remember about a minute in going, oh, you're fucking kidding me. It was a flow night. Like I was so in flow of just like, I remember going, I even remember just being able to like sit back as I was talking. It was really weird, but sort of step back. It felt like I was stepping back and going, oh, good on you, mate. This is a good time to get into flow. Just enjoy this. This is going to be, and I love it.
I'm imagining like the ghost version of you, like floating up from your body to watch yourself eating popcorn.
Well, I was luckily, it doesn't happen often. In fact, people have seen me will know how often, will know it doesn't happen. They've seen me not in flow, but it certainly felt that way. And it was different because I usually absolutely like demand the lights are off so I can't see anyone. I don't want to see anyone's responses. I don't want to analyze anyone's faces. But to shoot this special, I needed to have the lights really bright so I could see every single person in the room. Yeah. And I was seeing people in there that I had no idea were going to be there, like family, friends, famous people that I had no idea were coming. And I was like...
You knew I was coming, didn't you?
I was. You do joke. I was so conscious of where you were. I was trying to, in the first 5 seconds, like, where's Ryan? I was really...
Oh, really?
And Bridge as well.
For viewers, for viewers and listeners, they can tune in and spot Ryan and Bridge's mum in the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a little spot
for a keen eye.
Crowd shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was laughing, thank God.
Because everyone
at the right time. At the funny bit.
But I'm happy with the performance I did, but I started to watch it and I still found myself being critical of myself.
Of course.
And so I just said, I actually can't watch this. I don't know if I ever will watch it, which is such a weird thing to say, but I've said the stories that many times that as I sort of walked off the stage, I had this huge sense of quite emotional, but also this big relief of, I feel like I wanted to call my psychologist, which is not in our contract. I can't call her at 11 o'clock at night, but I wanted to call her and go, it's done. I've done it. You told me it's finished. It'll never happen again.
It's an amazing achievement. It's like to get a special on Amazon, on any like streaming service. It's huge, and that now exists forever.
Yeah,
so cool.
And I do love that because there's been so many times that I have done a show and thought, I wish my kids were old enough to understand this, and not to. I just wish they could experience this, and now that one day when they're ready, they'll be able to watch it. If that's still a thing, watching things.
Then you'll finally get the praise you know you deserved from them.
But I do feel incredibly lucky. I got to work with Tim Bartley, who we mentioned before. So everyone knows Ryan Shelton, Hamish and Andy. Tim Bartley, probably lesser known of the four of you from Radio Karate, who is just extraordinary.
Yeah. He's a beautiful boy.
A beautiful boy. He's a beautiful boy, a wonderful man. We share a love of Hawaiian pizza, and my God, can he make a television show? Unbelievable.
Really
and very grateful for him. And Laura Waters, who just from Princess Pictures, who really oversaw the whole thing and was is a bloody genius as well. So
she sure is. Well, Hugh, well done. I'm going to watch it again. No, you're not. No, I'm not. But it just felt like the good thing to say at the end. I've watched it once. I get it. Yeah, gratitude, empathy, mind. But genuinely, it's like it's. I just really hope people watch it. And also for people who have actually gone to see your show, I think it's still worth watching because there'll be new stuff. But also I feel like it's a very different experience watching it.
It really is.
With the camera angles really close up on your face. Like to see a close up of you telling those stories is a really, really different experience.
Here's the other thing I want to say very quickly. Yes, I've told the stories a lot. It was the most emotional I've ever been telling them.
Yeah,
Especially
you guys kind
really
of
were.
like broke
Yeah.
down a little bit.
There was one bit in Australia about Georgia, and I nearly completely lost it. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that being the TV show, I think I probably would have, but I was like, oh, God, not now. Don't do this now. So I don't know what it was about being the final time. I was so engaged of the telling of those stories. So other thing to look out for. Did you guys notice, by any chance, did you notice my hair?
I certainly did.
What about it?
It's as thick as it's thicker than it's ever been in your whole life.
It is.
Hang on.
Unbelievable. So
What do you mean thicker?
it's just this full head of hair.
Yeah.
It's just this like
How did that
gloriously
happen?
big.
A
Well-
huge a special effects budget. Enormous.
Straight to ILM. We are the best of the best working on that mop. More!
George Lucas coming into
Mr. Van Cuylenburg, it's a lot of hair. I don't give a shit.
It reminded me of a couple of things, but when it was sent to me and it was a rough cut to watch, I was watching it on my phone and Elsie walked past and I said, what do you think, Elsie? And she goes, your hair looks funny. That was the first thing she noticed. I was like, it does. Like,
I didn't notice actually.
oh, it's so much more. So
But what did you use? Like, did you like just
discovered a new product.
like slam 1,000 finasterides the day before? We don't recommend that.
I shelved all the fingers.
God.
definitely don't recommend that.
Shelved a finasteride. Wow.
No, it actually reminds me of something once that early on in the Resilience Project when I'd never done a website before ever, and we were trying to set one up, and Josh helped take profile pictures, and I said, and the photo was like before finasteride for me, so my hair was very thin. I said to Josh, if there's some way you can make it look like I got heaps more hair, that'd be great. And as a joke, he did a pretty obvious photoshopping, like just chunks of hair, and then we sent the photos through, and I think you sent the wrong photos through. So on the website, the actual official website was me with like, chunks of someone else's hair either side. It existed for about a year. But
Forgotten
anyway,
about it.
but anyway,
It existed for a year because you left it up.
Yeah, for some reason it just existed.
everyone's got that thing that they're insecure about. So as soon as you see a photo of yourself, you look for that thing. Like as soon as I got the thing, I was like, how's my hair? Whoa, what the hell? I couldn't believe how much hair I had in the Amazon thing. But
But is it just the way that it's been done?
so what happened was Monica, who Tim got to do hair and makeup,
Yep.
said, I've got this product. It's a hairspray. I don't know, everyone with thin hairs want to know what it is now. So we'll do a follow-up episode, but it was like...
A whole episode? Just chuck it on your stories, mate.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not doing another episode. Little update episode on the hairspray.
And she said, this stuff's amazing. It's a hairspray that's... I think it was Schwarzkopf maybe.
So
Firstly.
when you say hairspray, you mean like a spray sprays hair out of it?
No.
It's not like the silly string of hair. Yeah, keep going, Mons. Yeah, keep going.
I always know you said something funny, like really funny when I can hear Bridge laughing. That's probably the most I've ever heard her laugh in the background. So it's just this hairspray that's like thickening. It's like it just says volume adding.
Oh.
And my gosh, and we had to, because for continuity, I don't know if there's too much behind the scenes, but we did 2 shows back to back. So for continuity, my hair had to be the same.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay,
so
yeah.
she just absolutely pummeled it with hairspray.
Yeah.
And
So it lasted both shows.
Yeah, so it was just my hair was exactly the same for 2 shows for whatever. And it was just, I bought some the next day and I've been using it a lot since and it's wonderful.
Really? What's it
Except
called? Oh, you don't know.
It's a green can. I'll put it on my Instagram stories tomorrow.
Schwarzkopf.
I think Schwarzkopf. That's not how you say it.
That's fine. Schwarzkopf.
And it's just this really, it makes your hair. I also use that there's this this is not what I came here to talk about, but
This is what the crowd want to know about, though.
there's it's like a powdery thing. You can like a salty. It's like a salt that thickens your hair. Like you get hairdressers use it every time I get a haircut, and then this spray on top of it. It's unbelievable.
It was you on stage, though, wasn't it?
I just can picture people going, "Oh, there he is. Jazz, his hair's big." That's why. I had a lot of hairspray, and it's a thickening hairspray. I've used it ever since. The only issue is if you go out in the wind, when it picks up your hair, it looks a bit ridiculous.
Okay, good thing to look out for.
So,
thick hair.
Look, why don't we do a link to? I've never said this before, but link to hairspray in the show notes.
Okay, we will do that.
Something that no one has ever said before on their podcast. So anyway, it's a. I won't watch it, but thank you for your kind words, and to everyone who goes on to watch it, thank you. And if you don't, because you've seen me speak before, I totally understand.
Well done, Hugh. Everyone go have a watch. Amazon Prime Video, Audible. They're both. It's the podcast or the thing. Anyway, go watch it.
The Audible's got behind the scenes before and after, and there are some things we've edited out of the TV show just to make it a bit tighter. We haven't edited that stuff out in the Audible. So thank you, Tim. Thank you, Laura, for making it happen.
See ya.
The Imperfects is hosted and produced by Hugh van Cuylenburg, Ryan Shelton, and Josh van Cuylenburg. Our executive producer is Bridget Northeast. This episode is filmed by Andy Poole and edited by George Martin.
Hoping the pieces they just fall.